Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Saunders, Senior Analyst with Nasdaq Dorsey, Wright, for a technical look at the cybersecurity space. And of course, October is Cybersecurity Month. it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Great. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, you got it. And how does the broad cybersecurity space look from a technical perspective?
So in order to understand the broad cybersecurity space, we can use a broad cybersecurity fund representative such as the First Trust Nasdaq Cybersecurity ETF, ticker CIBR. To first look at the absolute movement or the absolute strength of that particular fund and indicative of the broader cybersecurity space, we can look at the point and figure chart for that fund, which is going to be focusing on three main points. Focusing first on the short-term movement, we're going to be looking at the column for that particular chart. So columns of X's indicate that price is rising, demand to control taking it higher. On the flip side, O's meaning that price is falling, that supply to control taking that price lower. So we saw that price move higher to top out at a new all-time high back at the beginning of September, a chart level of 52. That price then moved a bit lower there towards the end of September, early October, to bottom out before reversing back up into a column of X's with recent movement, indicating a demand is returning to the picture on a short-term basis. Looking at the signal perspective, we can see that the chart has given 4 consecutive buy signals. Those are being indicated by those green X's highlighted there on that chart, indicating that it's shown that consistency from an intermediate term perspective. And then on the longer term perspective, the chart is trading in an overall positive trend as it continues to trade above that red line. Shifting gears a bit to the performance perspective, we've seen the chart or that particular fund do very well from a 30-day look back window against the broader technology sector. So even though technology has pulled back a little bit from a broad perspective, cybersecurity still does very well. And that translates over to the fund score that we have for a variety of ETFs here at the Nasdaq Dorsey Wright Research System. That fund score goes from 0 to 6, 0 being the worst, 6 being the best. Generally, we like to look for 4s or better, and CIBR does come in with a 4.54 fund score, demonstrating that strength from a score perspective as well. Looking at the individual holdings, we have seen the near-term volatility translate over to some sell signals on some of those individual charts. However, over 2/3 of the holdings of CIBR continue to trade in an overall long-term positive trend.
All right, well, let's take a look at some of those individual holdings. What are some individual stocks with strong technical pictures?
Sure. So given the broader strength of the cybersecurity space, there's going to be a fair amount of names that we can look at for favorable securities. 2 examples that we can take a look at, one being the name that has given consistent strength, and that's Palo Alto Networks, ticker PANW. This has our strongest technical attribute score possible. So for stocks, we only go to 5, and it has all 5 of the attributes there. It's given consecutive buy signals and has been in a positive trend since April of last year. A name that has shown a little bit more recent improvement would be Splunk Inc., ticker SPLK. That stock did pull back a little bit more so with the broader volatility in technology, giving 2 consecutive sell signals there. However, it did return to a buy signal over the past couple weeks, and it has been in a positive trend there since June of 2021.
And given the broad strength, do all cybersecurity stocks look favorable?
It would be great if they did, but unfortunately, not all stocks are going to be favorable there within the cybersecurity space. The objective nature of the point and figure charting analysis that we use at Dorsey Wright allows us to pinpoint a few areas that might not be as favorable as their peers using just the price movement of those particular stocks. And a couple examples we can look toward there as potentially names to avoid or look elsewhere for first one is going to be SailPoint Technologies, ticker SAIL. This chart has given 2 consecutive sell signals. It's been in an overall negative trend since August of this year, and it has one of the weaker technical attribute scores that we have, a 1 for fiber from a technical attribute perspective. A very similar looking chart is Booz Allen Hamilton, ticker BAH. Also given 2 consecutive sell signals showing that intermediate term weakness. That longer term weakness is indicated by it being in an overall negative trend, and it is still in a column of those demonstrating that short term weakness as well. Again, a 1 for fiber from an attribute perspective. So demonstrating that broader weakness between those 2 names. Definitely going to be some more favorable looking spaces there within the broader cybersecurity space.
All right. And great work you guys are doing over at Nasdaq Dorsey Wright. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.